silence enveloped the surroundings. The ghost woman stood there, rigid. The crisis level, which had shot up to 99%, abruptly dropped to 50%. The ghost woman appeared stunned. Lin cleared his throat with a hint of embarrassment. My apologies, but when you suddenly approached like that, I couldn't help but want to give you a kiss. Please forgive my rudeness. It's just that you truly fit my aesthetic. The ghost woman, in her daze, muttered, fit your aesthetic. Viscous droplets seeped from the cracks in her face. Her foul-smelling tentacles and sharp spines seemed like a scene from a horror movie. Lin, his face turning slightly red, clutched his racing heart. Indeed. Ever since I was a child, I've had a deep admiration for girls with great sets of teeth and tentacles. He reached out, gripping two of the viscous tentacles hanging from her split face, caressing them along with the sticky liquid. Especially the sticky types like you, dear miss. You're akin to the radiant moonlight in my eyes. Time seemed to stand still. However, in that frozen moment, Lin suddenly halted his actions, furrowing his brow. Lin said gravely, I've noticed something concerning. Don't you pay much attention to oral hygiene? The ghostly woman, once again bewildered, retorted, what's it to you? Lin rose abruptly, declaring, how can a beautiful lady like yourself allow any imperfections? I believe, dear lady, you're in dire need of exquisite care. Several minutes later, Lin, satisfied, gazed at the ghost woman before him who now had gleaming, spotless teeth. He then took out a small bottle of breath freshener and sprayed it liberally over her teeth. Do you feel a sudden freshness in your breath now? Lin took out a mirror, his smile broad and animated, and held it before her. Her expression froze. In fact, for the past few minutes, her brain had essentially been in a state of shutdown. Because this wasn't right. This development was absolutely not what she had envisioned. It was one thing for him not to be afraid, but to actually look thrilled while providing her oral care. Was this a normal human reaction? By the usual conventions, shouldn't he be screaming in terror and then fleeing in utmost fear? Something's not right. This human is not right. Smack. She slapped the counter, coldly stating, stop buttering me up. I'm here on serious business. Speak. Did you perform surgery on a pigfolk yesterday? Lin pondered for a moment. Yes. The ghost woman narrowed her eyes, sneering, you operated on him, and you even extracted a baby from his belly, didn't you? The image of the ghost baby immediately floated into Lin's mind. May I know who you are? The ghostly woman's voice was deadly. I am her mother. This was beyond anything Lin had envisioned, for he absolutely couldn't associate the ghost infant, one that reveled in decay, with the ghost woman before him. Lin, eyes wide, exclaimed, patience, patience. I'm merely perplexed. How could a lady as beautiful as yourself fall for that pigfolk? And even if so, shouldn't it be birthed by you? You must know the circumstances. He must have told you. A month ago, he consumed a little ghost. That little ghost was a part of me. Since it has taken form, I am its mother. Lin struggled to maintain his composure, inquiring tentatively, so, madam, you are here too. The woman, with a cold laugh, licked her crimson lips and said, naturally, to retrieve my child. If I'm not mistaken, my child should have morphed into a catastrophe by now, hasn't it? Lin, eyes wide, retreated step by step. Well, how should I put it? And then, the woman's face once again split open in an instant, her entire body continuously oozing foul-smelling slime. Countless tentacles writhed out from her hair, slender hands sprouting one eye after another with a crackling sound. She advanced step by step towards Lin, laughing coldly, declaring, slaughter, malice, resentment, wickedness. My child possesses all the delightful qualities I possess. Since it has been born, it will undoubtedly become a qualified hunter, bringing catastrophe and nightmares to all. Lin, trembling, backed away, the medicine cabinet behind him, leaving him no room to retreat. Madam, please wait a moment. How can you be so certain that the infant is your child? If you wish to take him, I think we should have the pigfolk confront you directly. Lin hastily tried to stall for time. The woman sneered, confront. Fine, I will have him confront you right away. With a gasp, she suddenly opened her enormous bloody mouth, accompanied by a series of regurgitations. A slime-covered pig's head immediately dropped from her mouth onto the counter. Thump! The nearly completely corroded pig's head stared straight at Lin. Lin recognized at a glance it was the pigfolk he had operated on yesterday. The pigfolk had actually been devoured by this ghost woman. Hand over my child immediately. The woman approached step by step with a cold laugh, countless tentacles surging around Lin. Perhaps I might consider sparing your life. Lin, his back against the wall, said seriously, I'll hand over. Definitely will. But your child may be a little bit different from what you imagined. And it was at this moment, from behind the curtain, there came the sound of tiny footsteps. Lin's heart skipped a beat. The ghost woman immediately raised her head. Sensing the presence, a cold smirk instantly appeared on her face, saying, "It seems, my child has heard and is coming, haha." The ghost woman no longer paid any attention to Lin. She turned around, facing the curtain, countless tentacles writhing wildly around her, her smile growing more chaotic and distorted. "I might as well see what my child has turned into now. An indescribable distortion, or a forbidden evil ghost rolling in malice. I'm quite looking forward to it." Lin swallowed, wide-eyed. "I think it would be better if you don't harbor any expectations, madam. Because," and it was at the next moment, the curtain in the backyard was slowly lifted. Then, a baby, all chubby and pink, yawning and in a daze, walked out from the backyard. A pair of fluffy ears drooped atop her head, hazy and confused, pink and tender, fluffy and adorable. The expression of the ghost woman instantly froze in place, like a statue, unmoving. An eerie silence brazenly spread around. "Who is she?" the ghost woman asked, dumbfounded. Lin coughed and said earnestly, "She is the infant that the pigfolk gave birth to yesterday. Isn't she cute?" The gaze of the ghost woman became hollow. Subconsciously, she extended a long tentacle from her body, slowly reaching out toward the little girl, and after getting close to her, she swiftly severed the tip of the tentacle. Accompanying the falling tentacle, that tentacle quickly coiled around the little girl's leg like a little snake and penetrated almost without hindrance. Perfect fusion. No signs of any rejection reaction. The ghost woman shuddered, her gaze gradually becoming vacant, as this meant that this beast-eared, adorable baby in front of her was the fragment that had fallen from her body a month ago. That is to say, she is her own daughter. But what kind of joke is this? She trembled. The little girl, who was still staggering in a daze, immediately reflexively straightened up. Both little feet came together. Her body straightened up. Staring ahead, the little one perfectly stood at attention. The little tail behind her was still swishing. Obviously, the psychological shadows and taming level from before her formation have already been engraved into her bones. The ghost woman watched this scene blankly, feeling her entire worldview collapsing. Lin walked over, picked up the little girl, brought her in front of the ghost woman, and seriously said, "Ma'am, she is indeed a very healthy daughter. If you are sure she is your child, you can adopt her from me at any time." Then Lin poked the little girl's soft cheek and said, "Little one, call her mommy." "Mommy." The little girl blinked, seemingly also feeling the wonderful connection between her and the ghost woman in front of her. She leaned over. Slurp. She stuck out her tongue and gave her a lick on her face, leaving a small wet mark. "It's impossible. She can't possibly be my daughter," she murmured blankly, feeling her worldview and outlook on life all being greatly shocked. "Because she is an aggregation of evil spirits, a deformed evil spirit twisted by countless malice and hatred. The daughter incarnated from the fragment that fell from her can only be even more twisted and ferocious." She shivered back to her senses and looked into the baby's eyes. Crack, she felt something inside her heart breaking. Purity. She actually saw purity in her eyes. There is such a terrifying thing as purity in the eyes of an evil spirit. This is absolutely not a quality that a normal dark creature should possess. It must be a disguise, she murmured to herself, just as I often transform into a beautiful woman to seduce those prey. Yes, it must be like this. Under this pure appearance, there must be hiding an evil and twisted soul, she murmured, finding reasons for herself. Slurp. The little girl tiptoed and left another wet mark on her face, her eyes full of sweetness. Clearly, she had also felt the intimate relationship between herself and the ghost woman in front of her. The little girl raised her head and affectionately rubbed her forehead against the ghost woman. The ghost woman became blank. The cognition that had just been established with great difficulty shattered into pieces with a crack. "This shouldn't be," the ghost woman said blankly. "Normally, the evil spirit fragments that fall off from me would definitely form into a twisted existence. How could? She suddenly turned her head, and the malicious and furious gaze instantly fell on Lin. "Is it your doing?" Lin widened his eyes, decisively lifting the cute ghost baby in his arms forward. In an instant, the ghost woman's eyes were once again filled with the swaying, adorable baby. Slurp. The ghost baby stuck out her tongue and licked the tip of a tentacle in front of her. The ghost woman screamed, clutching her head, looking like she was about to break down. "It's impossible. She can't possibly be my daughter. Absolutely impossible. This kind of breakdown is not something ordinary people can understand." Lin cleared his throat and said seriously, "Ma'am, please calm down for a moment. Since you came to me looking for your child, it means that you must care very much about your own child. In that case, Lin lifted the adorable baby in his arms. Shouldn't you feel happy seeing such a cute and healthy daughter? The ghost woman sneered angrily, forcibly suppressing the anger in her heart, and said, "Heh, let me ask you, if you see your own child turn into a ghost-like figure, would you be happy?" Lin was taken aback, and said, "Shouldn't I?" The ghost woman stood there listlessly. She realized there was absolutely no way to refute his analogy, for he wasn't a normal person. He was a pervert who could get excited even in the presence of a terrifying ghost like her. "Madam, at this point, I must have a word with you. A child is a piece of oneself. Even if she were the most twisted and grotesque, she would still be your child." Moreover, Lin, holding the adorable child in his arms, earnestly added, "She is so very cute." The ghost woman stared at him angrily, her sharp claws clenching with a cracking sound. "Stop the nonsense. Had she been born normally, my child would never have looked like this. You must have tampered with her." With a sweep of his hand, Lin seriously replied, "Let's set that matter aside for now. I ask you, do you really prefer your child to be a monstrous ghost, a twisted creature covered in tentacles?" The ghost woman was taken aback. Seeing the change in the ghost woman's expression, Lin immediately seized this breakthrough point. Without giving the ghost woman a chance to react, he pressed on, "Do you think you'd prefer an evil being that attacks you on sight, or a sensible and endearing child who sweetly calls you mommy?" Lin lightly flicked the tiny beast ears of the cute child in his arms. "Mommy," the cute child immediately called out. At once, the ghost woman shivered all over, a hint of confusion emerging in her malicious eyes. Lin calmly looked at her and said, "Moreover, if I'm not mistaken, you actually yearn deep within your heart to have a child with such a pure appearance and soul, don't you?" At these words, the ghost woman instantly became furious, retorting, "Save your breath, I will just." Lin flicked the tiny ears of the child in his embrace. The cute child wiggled her tail. The ghost woman shuddered, and the murderous intent that had just risen was immediately suppressed by this cute sound. Lin earnestly said, "In your heart, you actually agree with what I've said, don't you? You're full of it." The ghost woman's tentacles flailed wildly as she glared angrily at Lin. "Let's talk about who's spouting nonsense. You can't fool me, madam. Haven't you noticed? When you are in human form, every move is exceptionally confident, especially your eyes. They are filled with the charm of a mature woman. That feeling can't be faked. You actually desire to truly possess such a perfect body and face, don't you?" The ghost woman subconsciously shuddered. It was as if some secrets, hidden deep and too embarrassing to mention, were suddenly exposed. Her face instantly showed an expression of embarrassed anger. "Don't rush to anger." Lin extended his hand, his expression serious. "It's only human nature, not something to be ashamed of. Moreover, aren't you aware? This is the dark world, where humans are few and far between. If you say you've become so beautiful just to enchant others, don't you think, apart from enchanting me, there's no place for your beauty to be of use?" The ghost woman stood there, motionless. Clearly, every word of Lin's was like a sharp sword, piercing directly into the softest part of her heart. Because Lin was indeed right. "Of course, we'll leave aside the fact that both your faces can enchant me," Lin solemnly said. "Madam, although you might indeed be a malevolent spirit, I believe that a malevolent spirit who pursues beauty can't be wicked, and you are absolutely not the broken and evil monster you claim to be." The ghost woman stood there, stupefied, her wildly surging tentacles gradually calming. Because no one had ever spoken to her in such a manner before. No one ever believed she wasn't an evil spirit. "For example, in my eyes, you are exceedingly beautiful, not just in appearance, but also the maternal radiance you emit from within. That soulful charm which is more human than I." Lin spoke earnestly and seriously. "Don't you understand yet? The fragment of the evil spirit you shed was able to hatch such a sweet and cute child. Doesn't this prove the truth, goodness, and beauty within your heart?" With the last few words, Lin's voice abruptly rose, seemingly filled with a heart-stirring power. The ghost woman opened her mouth and stood there, dumbfounded. For a moment, she felt as if she might be a bit beautiful. Seeing the ghost woman in front of him becoming mentally shaken, Lin pressed his advantage, seriously saying, "Consider your child. Think about it. Why are the other evil spirits born twisted and broken, yet only she possesses such a cute face? Come, hold your child," Lin said with a serious face. The ghost woman twisted her head shyly, daring not to look at the cute baby. Her hands hesitantly stretched forward. Seeing this, Lin, without another word, directly pushed the cute baby in his arms into the arms of the ghost woman. The ghost baby hugged the ghost woman's neck, stuck out her little tongue, and affectionately licked her cheek, leaving streaks of moisture on her face. The ghost woman stood there dumbfounded and stiff, allowing her daughter in her arms to lick her affectionately. Clearly, she had never had such affectionate experiences before. because the ghost babies that had formed from the fragments that fell off her body before were all malicious, almost killing any living beings in sight. Even though their treatment of her was the same, none of the evil spirits truly regarded her as their mother. "How does it feel?" Lin asked, serious and earnest. "Do you feel a burst of joy and sweetness from your heart?" The ghost woman, stiffly holding the baby, replied, "Not quite used to it." Lin nodded, gave a thumbs up, and seriously said, "Normal, the first time being a normal mother. There will often be a bit of helplessness, just like the awkwardness felt during the first intimate encounter." After a long while, the ghost woman finally shook her head vigorously, and her face resumed its cold expression. Holding the baby, she said, "You slick-speaking brat, don't think that a few words can really change the fact that my child has changed under you. I'll live next to you for now, and when I'm interested in you someday, I'll sneak in late at night to devour you." The cute baby W licked the cheek of the ghost woman again. The ghost woman was once again dumbfounded. Let's wait and see." Lin kept a smile on his face, sweating profusely, watching the alluring woman walk out the door with the ghost baby in her arms. After she left, he finally breathed a sigh of relief and collapsed into the chair. Lin muttered to himself, "No good, it seems I have to hurry and improve my combat ability. Otherwise, if I encounter this kind of situation again, it won't be as lucky as today." And the ghost woman said she would come to find him again. Although today he successfully made her lose her malice towards him, there's no telling when on a whim she really might sneak in at night to execute him on the spot. "I can only wait until tonight, the master should be back soon." Lin stabilized his emotions. He then opened the system space and took out the special reward he had just received. Indeed, it's a skill. Lin read the introduction carefully. He roughly understood the function of this skill. That is to say, when he is performing operations like psychological counseling on a target, it can increase the success rate on the target. It's a pretty good auxiliary skill. Learned. In an instant, the skill book transformed into a stream and entered his body. A passive skill immediately appeared on his system panel. Time slowly passed. Lin continued his daily dull and boring desk work. Knock, knock, knock. A series of knocks came from outside the door. The drowsy Lin was suddenly revitalized and immediately revealed a professional smile, raising his head and saying, "Welcome." A chill slowly came in from outside the door. In front of Lin's eyes, a tall and sturdy figure appeared. A set of fierce black armor, dry and bone-white cheeks, a head of equally bone-white long hair draped behind, with crimson light flickering in his eyes. And behind him, a demonic warhorse covered in ominous black fur was led. Apparently, this is another tough guy. And looking at this attire and introduction, it definitely belongs to the category of elite bosses. Indeed, the demon hunter was right. Many terrible fellows have come near Wandering Soul Lane. I need some sufficiently powerful battle support potions. A hoarse voice emitted from the mouth of the Black Knight. He took out a bloodstained money bag from his bosom, and the collision of coins could be heard. The reward will be substantial. Finally, a sufficiently normal customer has come. Lin immediately stood up, maintaining a smile, and said, "Please come in, guest, you have found the right place. In the whole Wandering Soul Lane, only our Bloodsaw potion shop has the most high-end potions." The Black Knight said hoarsely, "Isn't yours the only potion shop within hundreds of miles around here?" The Black Knight walked through the main door. The soul lamp instantly fluttered wildly. The armor on his whole body made creaking metal friction sounds. An oppressive aura emanated. Without a doubt, this is an extremely powerful warrior. "Sir, may I know what type of support potion you need?" Lin introduced with a smile. He then took bottle after bottle of different potions from the counter and placed them on the table. "We have all kinds of potions in our shop, a wide range of categories, guaranteed to satisfy you." Lin pushed a bottle of potion on the table in front of the Black Knight. "For example, this one, Strength Potion. It can greatly enhance your attack strength. It's a hot-selling product in our shop. You can try it." The Black Knight glanced at it. He picked up the potion and smelled it, then drank it in one gulp. No effect. The Black Knight put down the potion bottle hoarsely. "This kind of potion's enhancement to my combat ability can be almost neglected. Are you making a fool of me?" Lin immediately felt a powerful aura enveloping him. Suppressing him, his heartbeat accelerated. He immediately realized the hidden danger of this task. That is to say, if this Black Knight does not get a potion that sufficiently satisfies him, he might resort to violence. Lin widened his eyes. Without a second word, he quickly opened the counter and took out a high-quality amplification potion carefully researched by his teacher from the cupboard. "Please try this one. I absolutely guarantee your satisfaction this time," Lin said seriously. He placed the bottle of blood-red potion on the table. Without a doubt, this potion is definitely the best and top-quality medicine at the bottom of their Bloodsaw potion shop. The Black Knight reached out and grabbed the potion, drinking it in one gulp. Instantly, a red light flashed on him, and strands of blood red faintly appeared in his eyes, obviously a reaction from the potion taking effect. Minimal effect. The Black Knight casually threw away the potion bottle, speaking hoarsely, "This potion might be useful for those weaker creatures, but for me, it can be basically neglected." Lin, with wide eyes, quickly took out another high-quality potion from below the counter, saying, "Then try this one." "Trash. How about this one? For hemorrhoids, this is absolutely the best. It's expired." Several minutes later, Lin solemnly looked at the multitude of empty bottles on the counter and then at the Black Knight, who was obviously getting a bit impatient. Clearly, for a Black Knight of this level, the potions sold in their potion shop simply couldn't meet his requirements. Lin's heart was also becoming somewhat anxious. This seemingly simple task's actual danger was definitely not inferior to those he had done before. "It seems that this shop can't come up with any better potions." The Black Knight lifted his head and crunched his neck a few times, speaking hoarsely, "You are wasting my time." "Wait." Seeing the crisis level was about to explode, Lin reached out his hand and calmly said, "There is one more potion in our shop that I believe will definitely meet your requirements, but I don't have it ready. I need to concoct it on the spot. Can you wait for a while? I promise it will be the best potion." The Black Knight spoke hoarsely. "Oh," Lin calmly said, "if you are still not satisfied with this potion, you can cut me down on the spot." A hint of interest appeared in the Black Knight's gleaming eyes. He indifferently said, "Really? Fine, I'll give you half an hour to concoct it. Like you said, if it can't satisfy me, I will cut you down." "All right," Lin said seriously. Lin quickly rushed to the backyard. Without a second word, he directly took out the recipe awarded for treating the origin-level creature from the system space. The reward for treating an origin-level creature. This is definitely the best potion he could come up with. I can only hope for the best. The potion recipe awarded by the system should absolutely be better than any other potions in this world. Lin's expression was serious. He quickly dashed into the warehouse, searching for the various concoction materials needed for the potion. Most of the materials were available in the master's warehouse, and even the hardest to acquire material, the origin-level creature's tissue, he had. When he was fixing teeth for the headhunter last night, he had obtained a large amount of tooth fragments and the creature's oral mucus. He kept all of these. These were absolutely top-notch materials. His alchemy level wasn't very high, but being immersed in his master's knowledge for 2 years, his skills had greatly improved. In front of the large vat, Lin was stirring the viscous fluid, which was constantly bubbling mysteriously, with a stick. Flames were blazing, his expression serious. First put in the black bat wings, then the fangs of the man-faced spider. Boom. The large vat of potion instantly turned from white to purple, bubbling and producing one skull after another. Lin stood indifferently in front of the vat, continuously stirring. The potion in the vat was constantly changing between various colors like red, blue, black, and purple. Time passed swiftly. Soon, 20 minutes passed in a flash. Accompanied by the system prompts, Lin quickly poured the potions into empty bottles, placing them rapidly on the shelf. A total of 10 bottles of critical strike potion. This also instantly gave him an additional 100 points of alchemy experience. Critical Strike Potion, the latest high-quality potion launched by our store. You are the first customer for this potion. Whether it's effective or not, you are the judge. The Black Knight glanced at the unadorned potion. He played with it in his hand and said indifferently, "Are you sure this is the best potion here? You better think it over. If this potion still does not meet my standards, I will, according to our agreement, kill you." Lin calmly said, "I absolutely guarantee your satisfaction." But actually, Lin wasn't sure. After all, he had no exact understanding of how this potion was. But at this time, he really could only trust the quality of the system. Pop! The Black Knight opened the wooden stopper on the potion bottle. Immediately, a faint pungent smell lingered out, and the moment the Black Knight smelled this scent, he was taken aback. Stinky. Obviously, the taste was not going to be good. But what was surprising was that just by smelling this medicinal scent, he felt a strong reaction from the power surging within his body. And for him, who had been taking potions for many years, he hadn't felt this sensation for many years. Black Knight became serious. He picked up the potion, opened his mouth, and drained it in one gulp. Almost at that instant, he immediately felt an extremely bitter and hot flow rumbling into his body. He trembled as he looked at his own arms and stood up abruptly. He had felt it. He distinctly felt the power within his entire body roaring. This potion was like a wild, aged lady dancing seductively and fervently within his body, causing his blood vessels to burst open in exclamation. Roar! He howled in ecstatic pain, head raised towards the sky. The armor upon his body shattered explosively with a bang. Hairs were swirling in the air, revealing the pale and explosive tendons and muscles beneath. He struck the air with a fist. Boom! A sonic boom exploded forth directly from the air. He was astounded by his own power, feeling as if each of his attacks could land a massive critical strike on the enemy, wildly incomparable. What a potent potion, he gasped, saying, I've traversed through hell for many years, never have I stumbled upon a potion that could elevate my combat power this much. Too powerful. What is this potion? Its effects are so explosive. Lin, with a faint smile and a thumbs up, said, our shop's specialty. Critical strike potion. The Black Knight murmured the name of the potion again, his eyes progressively turning more fervent. Remarkable. I never thought that there would actually be such a high-intensity potion in this godforsaken place. With this potion's aid, I should be able to crush that demon hunter. He vowed this was absolutely the most explosive potion he had ever consumed. Such a genuine enhancement to combat power was an unparalleled pursuit for a warmonger like him. Lin, with a serious expression, hesitantly said, Sir, although the effects of this potion are indeed explosive, in a responsible manner, I still have to remind you that this potion might actually produce some minor side effects. But what type of side effects specifically remains to be investigated. In the end, Lin decided to remind the Black Knight once more. Side effects. The Black Knight snapped back to reality, the corners of his mouth curving into a cold smirk, and said, ha, indeed. A potion capable of nearly doubling my combat power instantaneously is bound to come with some adverse reactions. But it matters not. Can any side effect be more dreadful than death? The corners of his mouth twitched slightly upward. It was at this moment, a gust of wind blew in from outside the door. His extremely attractive long hair began to dance wildly with the wind. And then, it flowed smoothly from his head, drifting away. Lin's gaze became vacant instantly, saying, Sir, it seems like the side effects have already appeared. The Black Knight raised an eyebrow. Oh. Lin stared. Your head. The Black Knight raised an eyebrow, subconsciously reached out, and touched the shining white beautiful long hair on his head. Swish, an incomparably smooth sensation. The pupils of the Black Knight instantly contracted. A surge of immense unrest rose swiftly in his heart. Could it be? He subconsciously looked towards the mirror beside him. His gaze instantly became hollow. In the mirror, a shiny, glistening bald head brightly appeared in his vision. The smoothness of the light, the completeness of the light, the brightness of the light. Ding! A trace of a dazzling halo even flashed on that bald head. An eerie silence unscrupulously spread around. Where is my hair? The Black Knight said blankly. Lin, with wide eyes, said, on the ground. Is this the side effect you spoke of? The Black Knight muttered. Lin, with wide eyes, said, it seems so. I'll kill you. The Black Knight, in an instant, grabbed Lin by the collar. Humiliated and furious, his anger reaching the crown of his head. Lin became frantic as well, saying, You said you're not even afraid of death, so what's to fear about this minor side effect? The Black Knight's eyes were nearly bursting with rage. But you never said it would cause baldness. Lin stared wide-eyed. Though you indeed have gone bald, you've also become stronger. It's merely a small price to pay for power. The Black Knight, gritting his teeth, let go of Lin's collar, breathing heavily in quick succession. His gaze was intensely flickering, a struggle ongoing within his heart. Indeed, for a warrior in pursuit of formidable power, baldness really wasn't something unbearable. The effect of this potion was indeed astonishing. The almost doubled boost after consumption was absolutely a top-notch potion. And even if he's bald, so what? As a Black Knight, would he care about these? Right? It's just hair loss, right? I can tolerate being bald. But why does it have to shine? On his smooth, glistening forehead, it seemed to have some sort of special effect. Every few seconds, a streak of bright light would flash by, extremely eye-catching. This really was something that messed with one's mind. Lin wiped the cold sweat from his forehead and calmly said, Sir, please keep calm. This might be one of the side effects as well. And it's just flashing, isn't it? Adding some special effects, doesn't it make you stand out even more? The Black Knight kept grinding his teeth. How much per bottle? Lin immediately raised a finger solemnly. 1,000 skull coins, absolutely worth the value. How many more potions like this do you have? Including the one you've drunk, a total of 10 bottles. I'll take them all. The Black Knight slapped the counter, his expression gloomy. Lin was taken aback. Weren't you extremely disgusted by the side effects of this potion? The Black Knight grabbed Lin's collar in a whoosh. his eyes nearly bursting as he roared, "I'm already bald like this. Do you think I would be afraid of getting even balder? Pack them up for me. If you dawdle, I'll kill you." A few minutes later, Lin stood at the entrance of the potion shop, waving at the Black Knight who was galloping away on his horse, shouting, "Sir, welcome to visit again. If you need similar potions next time, I can give you a 1% discount." The sound of horse hooves gradually distanced within the dark mist, but one could faintly see that every 1 or 2 seconds, a point of light would flash with a ding in the depths of the dark mist. Extremely striking. Dozens of minutes later, in the dark and desolate hell wasteland, a demon hunter wearing a high hat slowly walked out of the darkness, the muzzle of his gun slightly tipping the brim of his hat. The wild wind was whipping his robe. "I've been waiting for you for a long time, Black Knight." The demon hunter's mouth curled up slightly, saying deeply, "I thought you had fled in fear, daring not to come to fight." The Black Knight, who had come from afar, leaped down from his warhorse, pulling a fearsome giant sword from behind. His cold and indifferent eyes beneath the helmet emitted a thread of cold light. He hoarsely and ominously raised the sword, pointing it at the demon hunter, saying, "Enough talk. Today, either you die or I perish." The demon hunter laughed heartily, full of mockery, taunting, "Ha ha ha. Just you. Decades ago, you weren't my match, and now it's the same. Did you chase me all this way just to die by my blade? If that's the case, then I'm more than willing to fulfill your wish." In an instant, he pulled out the demon-hunting longsword from his waist, and flames instantly ignited on the blade. The wild wind rustled his cloak, and a cruel and icy smile appeared on his face. Who will emerge victorious remains to be seen. The Black Knight's gaze flickered. Snap. His fingers moved slightly, popping open the cork of the potion in his hand. He drank the potion in one go. Then, he violently smashed the potion bottle on the ground. "Come on." He squinted, assuming a stance. "Potion?" The demon hunter smirked, saying, "Useless, Black Knight. No matter how many potions you consume, the difference is still there. You can't be my match, but I'm still willing to give you a chance." Ding. The demon hunter paused, subconsciously raising his head, his gaze falling on the knight's helmet. Whether it was an illusion or not, he seemed to have seen something flicker inside the helmet just now. Ding. Flickered again. The demon hunter's expression became hesitant, squinting. "It seems like you've prepared some powerful hidden weapon to deal with me, huh?" The Black Knight hoarsely said, "Do you think I'm like you? The Knights of Hell never stooped to using those shady things." Ding ding. Both of them heard those two crisp sounds. The Black Knight clenched his fists, closed his eyes, and the corners of his eyes twitched madly. "What is it?" The demon hunter became more suspicious, saying, "Your helmet just flashed twice." The Black Knight ground his teeth, closing his eyes. "You just need to know that it's not some hidden weapon." Ding ding ding. The demon hunter became even more suspicious. The Black Knight closed his eyes, gritting his teeth, veins popping on his temple. The demon hunter found this guy increasingly suspicious. He finally took off his helmet, revealing the shiny and bright bald head underneath. Ding. That round and shiny bald head emitted a bright light. Holy crap. What a shiny head. Muscles all over his body bulged as he gritted his teeth, saying, "This is the small price I paid to defeat you." Ding. Although I'm bald, I've become stronger. He suddenly raised the giant sword in his hand, pointing it at the demon hunter while shouting. The black energy enveloped his whole body like flames. In an instant, he charged towards the demon hunter like an ancient behemoth in a rage. "And on this day next year, it will be your funeral," he roared, leaping 100 meters, and the giant sword in his hand struck down towards the demon hunter's position. 1 hour later, Ghost Alley. Boom boom boom. Once again, there was a knocking sound outside the door. "Welcome." Lin immediately showed a professional smile, raising her head to look at the customer outside the door. But upon seeing the figure at the door, Lin was instantly stunned, because it was a familiar face, severely injured and dying. The demon hunter, covered in blood, with torn wounds all over his body, was panting and leaning against the doorpost, blood dripping from his fingers. "Holy crap, it's only been a day, and you've suffered such severe injuries again." Lin was utterly astonished. "Enough talk." The demon hunter gritted his teeth, forcefully covering his chest, saying, "Quickly treat me. The faster, the better. I can give you double the price. You're seriously injured." The demon hunter, struggling, took off his hat, breathing heavily. His eyes showed traces of anger and frustration. "Encountered an old subordinate from before. He was never my match before, but today, I don't know what strange potion he took. Suddenly became exceptionally fierce. He crits with every slash. Damn." He cursed, and his fist hit the counter in frustration, causing intense pain as he vented his frustration. If he hadn't run fast, he might have really been defeated by that guy today. He rubbed his bloodshot dry eyes with difficulty, especially that shiny bald head. Every time he concentrated on attacking, that shiny bald head would flash fiercely at you, not only seriously disturbing your concentration but also blindingly bright like damn headlights. That guy definitely enchanted his bald head with some kind of holy attribute magic. That damn baldy. It must be because he took some damn potion. If I find out who gave him that damn potion, I'll definitely chop him into pieces and chew him up. He angrily slapped the counter, but because it affected his wound, he sucked in a breath of cold air. Could it be? He's talking about me. That Black Knight bought a potion from me, intending to deal with this demon hunter. Lin widened her eyes, saying, "Wait for me here. I'll go to the backyard to get a more effective healing potion for you. Hurry up." The demon hunter, full of anger, was irritable. Lin sighed, quickly opened the curtain, and walked towards the backyard. In this remote little potion shop, how could there be such powerful potions? Not finding out was the best. And in the next moment, Lin, smiling, walked out from the backyard with several bottles of high-level recovery potions. "Sir, 200 skull coins per bottle, no need for surgery. After taking it, you'll be full of energy, hehe." Bang! A bullet whizzed past Lin's ear. The demon hunter rushed forward, grabbing Lin's collar, gritting his teeth. "You little guy, you acted so innocent just now. I really never expected that it was you who provided the potion for that bald guy." Lin looked puzzled. "What potion? Why don't I understand?" The demon hunter erupted in anger. "Are you pretending? I saw that bald guy drink a potion before our battle, and the bottle of that potion is exactly the same as the one on your table." Clearing his throat, Lin, seeing that the situation was exposed, decided not to pretend anymore. "Curious, the bald guy you're talking about. Is he a Black Knight riding a warhorse?" The demon hunter squinted, grabbing Lin's collar. "What do you think?" Lin closed his eyes, smiling. "I see. A few hours ago, that customer did come to my shop and bought a batch of potions at a high price. He's quite wealthy, contributed a W to my small store's revenue. Hee." The demon hunter gritted his teeth, eyes flickering. "What kind of potion did you give him?" Seeing an opportunity for a sale, Lin's face lit up with a professional smile. "The latest product from our potion shop. A critical hit potion that significantly enhances your combat ability. High quality at a low price, absolutely essential for killing enemies. Trust me, you won't find it anywhere else." The demon hunter, with a sinister tone. "Are you helping a dark creature to deal with your own kind?" Lin confidently extended 2 fingers. "The unit price is 2,000 skull coins. But, for a respected customer like you, I'll offer a 20% discount. 1,600 coins per bottle, selling at a loss to you." The demon hunter, contemplating, hesitated. "Or maybe I could kill you now, take over your little shop." Lin closed his eyes, shaking his head. "Sir, we are of the same bloodline. Like they say, at home, rely on your parents, outside, rely on your own kind. Our relationship is more than that of parents, it's a bond in our blood. And I even offered you a 20% discount." Lin looked mournful. The demon hunter's entire body got goosebumps. After not seeing him for a day, this guy's disgusting skills have improved dramatically. Enough nonsense. The demon hunter bit his teeth, massaging his temples. "How much did that bald guy buy? Give me the same. Money is not an issue." "Sure thing." Lin instantly felt delighted. After a dozen minutes, "It's already made." With the system prompt, Lin smiled and placed the freshly brewed 10 bottles of critical hit potion on the counter. 10 bottles of potion cost a total of 160,000 coins or 16 black skull coins. In addition, 6 bottles of regular recovery potions for 300 coins, and 2 bottles of special recovery potions for 600 coins, a total of 169,000 coins. I'll round it down for you, 170,000 coins. Thank you for your patronage." Lin bowed 90 degrees. The demon hunter, gritting his teeth, pulled money out of his pouch. He didn't know why, but he felt like this guy might still be trying to deceive him. After paying, he hesitated as he looked at the potions in his hands. "If I drink this, will I really go bald?" To be honest, he was a bit resistant. After all, he had nurtured his jet black beautiful hair for many years. Lin earnestly said, "Baldness is a small matter, strength is lifelong. And it's just hair. If you lose it, come to my store for consumption. I can even offer you hair implants." Lin suddenly thought of a good business chain. Critical hit potions plus hair implant services equals a continuous stream of small profits. After more than 10 minutes, in the darkness outside Yaohan Alley, vaguely, at the deepest part of the darkness, like a signal light, a flickering light source is rapidly approaching. The brightness is like fireflies in the dark, twinkling, and in the next moment, accompanied by the whinnying of war horses, a black knight with a shiny bald head rushed over, his face gloomy, and on his forehead, a pile of moths circled around, hovering over his forehead. His gaze was gloomy as he searched for the traces of the demon hunter. Over half an hour ago, he had severely injured the demon hunter, but in the end, he let him escape during the interval of his own potion's effectiveness. But he believed that the demon hunter couldn't run too far, as enemies for hundreds of years. As long as he could kill him, his ranking in the dark world would rise again. This hard-won opportunity, he would definitely not let it go easily. Just at this moment, his gaze flashed. He instantly felt the familiar aura coming from the direction of Yaohan Alley. Found you, he sneered, turned his head suddenly, and looked towards the distant black mist. Ding! A flash of light lit up from within that black mist. He was momentarily stunned. He hesitated, feeling an indescribable and enormous familiarity. In the depths of the rolling black fog, he vaguely saw a shimmering halo slowly approaching him from the direction of Yaohan Alley. The flashing frequency was about once every 2 seconds, and the light was very bright. For some reason, he felt a somewhat familiar feeling, and in the next moment, a figure with bare arms and eyes hidden in the darkness slowly appeared in his field of vision. The Black Knight was shocked, because he immediately recognized that the figure was the demon hunter he had fought with before. He retreated a step in astonishment. The demon hunter, holding a long knife with a gloomy and indifferent expression, eyes hidden in the shadows, walked step by step towards him. Ding! A glowing halo, identical to his own shining bald forehead, lit up with a plus sign. The demon hunter slowly stopped, opened his eyes deeply hidden in the shadows, gripped the blade tightly, and said, "Now we can continue our unfinished battle." Ding! His forehead flashed. As if in response, the round and shiny forehead of the Black Knight also flashed. A strange silence inexplicably spread around. The Black Knight stared at him in astonishment, and his gaze instantly fell on the potion bottle in his hand. He gritted his teeth and said, "Could it be?" Yes. A rolling momentum emanated from the demon hunter. He raised his head indifferently, overlooking the Black Knight, and said, "I'm bald, but I've become stronger." A brighter light flashed on his indifferent forehead. "Don't think that only you can go bald. When I go bald, you have to step aside." His gaze was gloomy, and he suddenly opened his hidden eyes, full of fighting spirit and killing intent. The Black Knight's face darkened, and he said deeply, "It seems that we are back to the starting point." Ding! His head flashed with light. Yes. The demon hunter looked at him indifferently. Ding ding. He flashed twice in a row. "And my flashing frequency is higher than yours, which means..." He casually moved his neck, brushed past his shining bald forehead, and a strong wind howled. He said deeply, "I am stronger than you." Ding ding ding. He flashed 3 times to show off. A fierce wind generated a whirlwind under their feet, and the rolling fighting spirits surged around them. Both of them stood still, squinting their eyes. Like 2 opposing forces at the top of the Forbidden City, their momentum skyrocketed. Even the lights on their foreheads competed, with one flashing after the other. And just in the next moment, without saying a word, in the darkness, 2 bright spots rapidly approached. Clang! The swords collided instantly, and the 2 of them fiercely clashed their swords, sparks exploding at the point of impact. They resisted fiercely, biting their teeth and refusing to yield. "You bald pate, I've been eyeing you for a long time. Don't think you can defeat me just because you're bald. Who do you think can't go bald like you? Even if you go bald, you're not my opponent. Go to hell." Bang! Sparks splattered. "I'll give you a taste of your own medicine." Bang! For a while, in the darkness, 2 angry lights continued to collide, not giving into each other. By selling the same potion and earning more than 20,000 skull coins, you have gained a permanent bonus, +1 to all attributes, and selling potions will earn an additional 1 in profit. At the counter, Lin's mind rang with several system prompts in succession. Lin quickly allocated his latest 4 attribute points, all added to physique. Vision. What is this feature? Lin moved slightly. He immediately called up the system interface, and in the corner of the panel, he saw a big icon of an eye. System. Vision is generated by the supreme consciousness of the dark world, an illusory realm overlapping with the dark world. A mirrored world that has been in existence for tens of millions of years. As long as it is within the scope of the dark world, any dark creature can use a special vision stone to enter the vision. You can communicate with other creatures in the vision, and after death, you will be forcibly expelled from the vision, but it will not cause too much damage to the host. After hearing the system's explanation, Lin roughly understood some things. It seemed like a consciousness world similar to modern networks. It seems that I know too little about this dark world. Lin pondered. It can be said that in the past 2 years, due to being too weak, he had no chance to leave this small shop, let alone contact the even broader world outside Yaohan Alley. Do I need to consume the so-called vision stone to enter? Lin hesitated. So expensive. Lin was surprised. Fortunately, he now had a considerable income and could afford to try. Without further ado, Lin reached out and clicked on the eye icon of the system. Open, and just in the next moment, Lin instantly felt as if his brain had been heavily hit, and his consciousness buzzed as it plunged into darkness. Vaguely, it felt like an immensely grand will had directly locked onto him, as if it had seen through his entire soul. It was chilling, but that feeling only lasted for a moment. The next moment, Lin suddenly opened his eyes. Where is this? Lin was taken aback. What appeared before him was no longer his small shop but a vast square, extending endlessly beyond sight. The sky was pitch black, and ghostly figures moved about the square like souls. At the top of his head, resembling a sun, a black glowing eyeball floated, observing the entire world. Ding! Host, you have successfully passed the scrutiny of the Supreme Will and entered the field of vision. This is the 11th Abyssal World, the Field of Vision Square in Zone 900. Please note that within the Field of Vision Square, the Supreme Will prohibits any form of conflict. You can now check your information at will through the rune on your wrist. Note that, if not necessary, do not casually expose your coordinates and identity in the dark world, or bear the consequences. Skull coins are the only currency for transmission within the field of vision. The system has automatically converted 1,000 skull coins for you. Lin raised his illusory arm and indeed saw a deep blue rune with an eye on his wrist. Lin quickly calmed himself down. The dark world is truly beyond imagination, unexpectedly giving birth to such a massive consciousness interaction space. Supreme Will. Lin caught onto that key term. This should be related to the giant eyeball above his head. Could it be that the Supreme Will is the god of this dark world? Lin hesitated and touched the rune on his wrist, and in the next moment, information appeared before his eyes. Lin, race, otherworldly human, identity, none. Resources, 1,000 skull coins. Danger level, mild. Very concise. Compared to the extensive panel of the system, this was quite simple. Lin hesitated and asked, System, what is your relationship with the Supreme Will? I always feel you two are somewhat similar. System, no relation. The reply was straightforward. Lin shrugged, quickly scanning the surroundings. According to his understanding, this should be a concept similar to the metaverse games on Earth. Consciousness transfer allows people to access information about other places through this world at any time. For someone like him, who rarely ventured out, this was undoubtedly the best channel. Since different areas are divided, this 900 square should correspond to a large area that includes the Soul Alley. Lin contemplated, and just as Lin was still thinking, suddenly, in an instant, a line of crimson blood characters appeared before Lin's eyes, composed of dots of light. Identity, informant, broadcasting information to all beings in 900 square. Battle resumes near Soul Alley. Demon Hunter vs. Black Knight. Information reception cost, 20 coins. Lin was momentarily stunned. Then, Lin immediately saw that many wandering specters on the square also stopped simultaneously. Evidently, they also received the same information transmission. It can actually be like this. Lin was amazed. If this was a function of the field of vision, then information had an instant channel for monetization. Without hesitation, Lin immediately clicked confirm. Skull coins minus 20. And at that moment, a pitch black screen suddenly appeared before Lin's eyes. In the screen, black mist billowed, and distant explosions confirmed that two beings were fighting within the black fog. And in the next moment, bright dots suddenly lit up in the black mist, rapidly leaping and clashing. That is, Lin was stunned. And in the next moment, the screen suddenly became clear and the mist dissipated. Two figures suddenly appeared, the Black Knight and the Demon Hunter who had just visited his small shop. Ding, ding. The brightly shining foreheads of the two were flickering in the screen. Lin was instantly dumbfounded. At the same time, messages from various beings kept floating on the screen. Yes, I've seen them. That's the Black Knight ranked 171st on the hunt list and the Abyss Demon Hunter ranked 143rd. They are now near Soul Alley. They have always been archenemies. 2 years ago, they had a fight on the Hellfire Plains. Wait, do you find their appearance strange? They all seem bald. And why do their heads flash? So peculiar, so strange. I came to watch the battle. Why can't my eyes move away from their heads? So flashy, so flashy. Although I don't know why they're bald, they seem stronger than before. So amazing. Under Lin's wide-eyed gaze, the screen continuously displayed comments all saying, so flashy. Is this dark world so advanced? Lin quickly finished watching the entire screen and calmed his mind. Lin's gaze once again fell on the ice blue rune on his wrist. He clicked once. His identity panel in the field of vision appeared before his eyes. He tentatively clicked twice in a row. Instantly, a completely new panel appeared before his eyes. This is. Lin was shocked. Area channel. Then, Lin immediately saw one after another scrolling message in the screen. This intense familiarity made Lin can't help but guess whether he has crossed into another world or into a game world, because this sense of deja vu is really too strong. Lin frowned and quickly looked at the messages from various beings in the channel. Blood doll, uncles and aunties, have you seen my mom? If so, contact me, I will give generous rewards. Skull demon, don't get close to her. I warn everyone, she bit off my arm last time. If I didn't run fast, she would have swallowed me whole. Everyone, be vigilant. Long hair ghost, dear neighbors. I solemnly remind everyone here, the pharmacy in the alley is a black shop. I went there yesterday to buy a bottle of potion, guess what I saw? Long hair ghost, the perverted doctor in the store was riding on someone's body, chopping it up with a chainsaw. I was scared and ran away quickly. As soon as these words came out, the channel suddenly became active. Blood doll, yes, it's a super black shop. It's the human doctor. He deep-throated the doll yesterday. He even dug out the doll's eyes, and it still hurts now. Lin quickly closed the channel. This dark world is indeed not simple. But before exploring more, he must be cautious. With his gaze on the ice blue rune, Lin hesitated. He clicked once. His identity panel appeared again. He clicked twice in a row. A completely new panel appeared. This is. Lin was shocked. Private channel. Lin quickly opened it. A list of names appeared before his eyes. Lin stared with wide eyes, subconsciously clicking on the image. Instantly, before his eyes appeared a cute little girl holding a tentacle like a handle. My daughter. That human boy said I have such a daughter, an embodiment of my true kindness. But I always feel he did something to my daughter because my other children are all like this. Lin opened the screen. In the picture, there were immediately distorted and collapsing tentacle monsters, fissure monsters, and visually polluted conglomerates of rotten flesh. Yesterday morning when I went to that shop, I saw the human doctor. He seemed to be using a terrifying method to perform cosmetic surgery on a ghost baby. I don't know if it's your daughter. Private chat, tell me in detail. Lin stared wide-eyed, quickly closing the area channel. Are you kidding? But how could he have known before that there would be an information exchange platform similar to the metaverse in this dark world? He had just managed to deceive that female ghost today. Is he going to turn the tables so soon? Originally, Lin wanted to explore more features of the field of vision. Quickly, Lin logged out. The moment consciousness returned to his body, Lin rushed to the door at an unimaginable speed. Without a second thought, Lin was about to close the door. But almost at the same time, from the black mist outside the door, a voice with a smiling tone came. Good boy, are you closing so early today? Are you afraid of something? Lin's expression froze. An extremely graceful and charming woman emerged. With a coquettish smile on her face, long wavy curls hung behind her, and her steps were exceptionally charming. It was the blood-clothed evil spirit from before. So fast, a professional smile immediately appeared on Lin's face. He rubbed his temples and said, No, it's just that I don't feel well today, so I want to close early and take a good rest. The blood-clothed evil spirit walked gracefully, slowly biting her crimson lips, saying, Oh, I see. That's really a pity. I wanted to thank you for taking care of my daughter. Lin subconsciously took a step back, secretly gripping the revolver behind him, and said with a smile, No need for thanks, Lin. The blood-clothed evil spirit smiled and walked step by step. Her gaze was very gentle, but opposite to that was the constantly rising crisis level. But just as she was about to reach Lin, a rolling sound of wheels suddenly came from the darkness in the distance. Squeak, squeak. The blood-clothed evil spirit suddenly stopped, and the smile on her face also paused slightly. Slowly, only to see an old woman with wrinkles pulling a cart slowly appearing in front of Lin's pharmacy, smiling and waving at Lin. Young man, are you closing? Lin immediately greeted her with a smile as if grabbing a life-saving straw, saying, Yes, feeling a bit unwell today, so I want to rest early. How was your harvest today, Grandma? The scavenger chuckled. Old, no one cares about an old woman like me. But with what you gave me today, I won't have to scavenge for several days. Heta. Without saying anything, Lin sincerely said, Don't say that, Grandma. I've accumulated some rubbish today that you might be interested in. Shall I give it to you now? Oh, the scavenger chuckled. Thank you very much, young man. Lin quickly returned to the pharmacy, then immediately took out the long hairbands dropped by the demon hunter in the Black Night and solemnly placed them on the scavenger's cart. The scavenger shook. Then her gaze became extremely complicated as she stared at Lin, saying, When I passed by the alley, those two outsiders were still fighting. It hurt my old lady's eyes to dodge their bald heads. Did they both get their heads shaved at your place? Lin smiled and said, yes, both of them are my good customers. The scavenger paused, then showed an impressed smile, saying, impressive, impressive. I didn't expect that all the outsiders appearing in our ghost lane recently have some connections with you, young man. Admirable. But this time, this old lady doesn't have anything to give you. Do you mind if this old lady rests at your shop door for a while? Lin quickly helped the old lady up, smiling, I would be honored, Grandma. You can rest for as long as you want. Lin maintained a smile on his face, but in his heart, he had indeed passed through the gates of death more than once. He knew that blood-clothed evil spirit just now was here to kill him. If it weren't for this well-connected old lady appearing, he might really have to settle down here today. Young man, who is this? The scavenger turned her head with a smile, looking at the blood-clothed evil spirit in a red dress not far away. Lin immediately smiled and said, oh, this is also one of my customers, a very friendly and beautiful lady who just moved in as my neighbor. She has invited me to her house for dinner tonight. She lives in number 45. My daughter likes you very much. Accept the blood-clothed evil spirit's invitation and go to dinner. Refuse the blood-clothed evil spirit's invitation and survive tonight. 1000 skull coins, 500 base experience, special reward X1. Click. The corner of the blood-clothed evil spirit's mouth suddenly reached her ears, and you could even see the tentacles and fierce thorns crawling in her mouth. You shouldn't refuse, right? She said gently. Then she crossed her arms, turned around, and gracefully walked back into the darkness from where she came. Listening to the fading sound of her footsteps, Lin finally breathed a sigh of relief, relaxing. Young man, the scavenger beside him smiled. Be careful. Don't provoke any resentful spirits, otherwise they will linger with you forever. Lin quickly came to his senses and thanked, anyway, I have to thank the old lady. Without her, I would have been in real danger. The scavenger chuckled as he struggled with his cart and said, if it weren't for you last night, the ghost alley might not exist anymore. But the old lady will only help you this once. What happens next is none of her concern. Creak, creak. Lin watched the old lady disappear into the black fog, his expression turning serious. He quickly returned to the pharmacy. Checking the time, he raised an eyebrow. I can only see if the teacher will come back tonight. If not, it's going to be troublesome. Soon, the soul lamps outside flickered and gradually dimmed. Nightfall approached, and there was still no sign of his teacher returning. Lin paced nervously. He knew the teacher probably wouldn't come back today. There were only two choices in front of him. Either go to the appointment or stay and endure until the next day. But clearly, with his current strength, enduring until the next day would be difficult. He frowned. Without hesitation, he immediately spent 500 skull coins, quickly logged into his field of vision, wanting to gather information. As soon as he opened the regional channel, he immediately saw a familiar nickname. Queen, did you kill that human guy? That guy was lucky. There was a scavenger of unknown strength passing by. His relationship with the old lady seems unusual. I didn't take action. Are you talking about the old woman in human skin? Be careful, she might be one of the earliest residents of Ghost Alley. Many residents say she might be a relic of a powerful monster, and her strength is terrifying. Interesting, but even if we fight, I'm not afraid of her. Tonight, I've invited that guy to my house. If he comes, there will be a good show waiting for him. If he doesn't come, haha, then I should find some entertainment. Queen, invincible. All the comments below were full of compliments. Indeed, having just moved here not long ago, she had already established enough authority in Ghost Alley. It was truly a world where strength was respected. Queen, do you think he might be in the field of vision, watching us chat right now? Impossible. That guy's strength is weak, and he hasn't reached the ability to enter the field of vision. Even if he could, so what? I'm already itchy to deal with him. Tomorrow, you guys can wait for my battle report. Human doctor, are you here? Are you? The bastard who trained my daughter, are you here? Come out if you dare. Snap. Lin quickly closed the regional channel, eyes widening. This was an open plot against him. No way. Lin immediately logged out, looking serious. Squinting, he brought his revolver, heart, and bone-cutting knife, all carried with him. These were his best self-defense tools so far. Then, he opened his panel. Can slightly increase the success rate of persuasion. Can diagnose whether the other party is under a curse. Lin, a weak fighter with all attributes and only a few basic life skills. I can't face it head on, I have to use my brains. Lin looked serious, watching the soul lamps gradually extinguish. Lin no longer hesitated, quickly closed the pharmacy door, and then, holding the gradually dimming soul lamp, walked out of the pharmacy for the first time. The light from the soul lamp dispersed the black mist. In the darkness, silence prevailed. Soon, Lin stood in front of the door of number 45 Ghost Alley. Lifting his head, an old and dilapidated house revealed itself, emitting a strong smell of blood and a musty odor. And here, it was the shop of the pig-headed demon from before. Except, yesterday, he was eaten. Creak. Lin slowly pushed open the old wooden door while holding the lamp. "Lady, I'm here to visit," Lin shouted. The interior was pitch dark, and a strong musty smell wafted over. Lin cautiously walked in. In the darkness, he faintly heard the sound of rustling movements. Around him seemed to be something hanging upside down, emitting a subtle sound of chain collisions. And in the next moment, candlesticks on the walls around lit one after another, instantly illuminating the entire room. And Lin immediately saw, one after another, hanging upside down from the chains were dried corpses, skin peeled off. Lin could even clearly see the twisted and fixed expressions on their faces. Clearly, before the death of the pig-headed demon, this place had always been a bloody and cruel slaughterhouse. Lin reached out and poked the face of a corpse hanging in front of him. "Not as handsome as me." Lin shook his head, moved away the hanging person, and walked towards the front. The next moment, Lin saw in the center of the room a square table covered with a blood-red tablecloth, and 2 candlesticks flickering with faint flames. There was also a pair of high-heeled shoes on the table. The atmosphere was inexplicably eerie and out of place. "Lady, are you there?" Lin shouted. But there was no response. Lin widened his eyes, shrugged, looked at the chair that seemed to be prepared for him in front of the table, and sat down on it. Thank you for watching. Subscribe and enable notifications so you don't miss the next chapter.